Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, I can see you now.
I
Okay,
can
good.
see,
Okay,
yes, and I can see your t-shirt. You're ready for a
okay.
fight. I was just setting the stage. We're talking to you because former governor of California who helped pass some really important legislation there in California that, as far as I'm concerned, is a beacon for the nation in ending political gerrymandering and letting the citizens choose the politicians instead of the politicians choosing the voters. And right now in Texas, we've got a situation where President Trump has ordered up 5 extra congressional seats to help keep the U.S. House, control of the U.S. House in the midterms. And we've got mid-decade redistricting going on. Democrats have fled the state to try and escape it. And just today, they ended the session that had been going on and started a new one. And so the one of the, I guess, things that they can do at this point, their options, is to lean on blue states, such as California, to temporarily undo the protections for voters and have partisan gerrymandering that you helped get rid of. And so what do you think about that plan?
I think you know what I think about it, right?
Tell everybody, tell Texans what you think of it.
Well, I think that it is a crime of what has been happening the last 200 years in America and how the politicians have figured out how to do gerrymandering and how to draw the district lines in a way so that they have a safe seat and they don't have to perform because there's no competition. And therefore, they just go about their business and only think about one thing, and that is to get reelected, to stay in power. And then on top of that is then the big battle between the two parties, which is between the Democrats and the Republicans. So when the Democrats get the chance to do the redistricting or to do the gerrymandering, then they will do that, and they go all out. And then the Republicans have the chance to do redistricting and gerrymandering, and they go all out. And so it's a competition between the two. And the way I see it is as both of them being evil by doing that. It's mean spirited, it's evil, simply because they say they're supposed to be a public servant, and this is everything but public service. It is party service. It's serving the party. The Democrats try to outdo the Republicans because they want to serve the Democratic Party, and the Republicans try to outdo the Democrats to serve the Republican Party. But who is serving the people then? So,
Right.
so what I noticed very innocently in California when I started with my governorship was that people couldn't vote for certain things because they felt like when I go back to my district, I can never get away with it, and someone else, what to the left would be voted in, or someone, what to the right would be voted in if it's a Republican. And I realized that it was actually the district lines was drawn in such a way that they couldn't get anything done. So I felt like, well, that is not really public service. That's why I was like, literally like the one that was really pushing hard this idea of creating an independent commission.
Right.
Now, others have tried it before me and have failed. And of course, I failed terribly in 2005 when I did it the first time, because I realized that both parties were spending money against my initiative. I mean, think about it. I mean, Nancy Pelosi was pouring in, $4 million against me, and the Republicans were pouring in millions of dollars against me, and I was raising good money for it. But I mean, I couldn't compete against both of the parties' money, so we lost. And then, but eventually, at that point, also the people were not educated enough to understand what this is all about. The press was not informed enough to realize of what this is all about, and so no one really could articulate it, and so it was not. We didn't do a good enough job to really explain it to the people. But in 2008, when he came back again and we did it again, then it was kind of like the legislators were very helpful in that, and then bringing it back. And then we campaigned and we brought it back, and we were now more equipped. And we eventually just, like I said, you never give up and you do it. And I remember the line that when a journalist asked me, says, well, don't you get the message that now you've tried it 3 times and the people who voted it down, don't you just have to now give up and just move on? I said, look, there were times when I was lifting in powerlifting and trying to bench press 500 pounds at the powerlifting championships in Germany and in Austria. I said, and I couldn't do it. I said, but the 11th time I did it. So I said, I tried 10 times and I failed. I didn't feel like I was a failure. I just said, okay, I tried it as hard as I could, and then I just couldn't do it. And I said, but I went back and back again, and then eventually I did it. And the same was also with redistricting. We did not look at it as like, okay, we failed 3 times, so therefore let's give it up. But we did it again. And then it worked in 2008 with the Independent Redistricting Commission, and in 2010 with the open primaries. So we did it. And so I feel very passionate about it. I felt like kind of like, okay, I have to protect this because I promised to the people in California, I say I would do anything and everything that I can in my power to make sure that we have an independent commission. I said the commission that will be there to protect you and not the politicians. I said, because when the politicians throw the district lines, all they think about is to protect their district, to protect their position, and so they get voted in again. And so they're basically, as you put it, they're basically looking and searching for the voters rather than the voters kind of like picking the politicians. So it's just all turned around and very undemocratic and very un-American, may I remind you. And as Ronald Reagan put it, it's very un-American. And so now this thing is coming up. I, of course, have the last one to have any interest to tell the Texans how to handle their politics, because I was, governor of California. But now all of a sudden, California is reacting because of Texas. And I just say very simply, it is very wrong what they're doing in Texas, and it is very wrong what they're trying to do here in California. It is not at all serving the people. It is serving the party. And on top of it, what they're doing in California is by saying that this is temporary. There's no such thing with those guys. It's just a right out lie. It doesn't exist, because how many times have we seen tax increases? This is just now during the recession, and then it will go away automatically after 5 years. Then all of a sudden it's back again. So they lie, and they would do anything. Why are they going out and do test all of those lines? Because they want to figure out, how do we go and put wool over people's eyes? So they go and they test those lines. Oh, this is just an initiative. This is just going to be until 2030, and then it's going back again. No, in 2030, they're going to say, sorry, guys, but they still do the gerrymandering in Texas, so we have to continue doing it here. When the people of California should never, ever give up this independent redistricting commission, because when the politicians take over, they will never, ever give it back, because they are hungry for power. They like to be in control of those situations. They hate the idea, even though they say, oh, this is wonderful and all this stuff. Both parties spend money always against it. It's that simple. And that, to me, said it all.
So you don't think that Gavin Newsom is telling the truth when he says he's going to put it in writing, that it's temporary, and that people would hold him accountable to that?
I don't want to put a name on it, because I think it's just a system. Everyone has a leader there, and that does their work and all this stuff. So I don't blame Gavin Newsom, because I understand that he's in a very, very difficult position. So he has to make up his own mind. Like I told him, I said, look, you do whatever you need to do. But I said, I need to do what I need to do. I said, are you there to protect the Democratic Party? I said, I understand that because you want to go and become the leader nationwide and all of that. I said, but I have to protect the people. I said, someone has to be out there that is the grown up, that is above all of that. I said, and I never ever got into the governorship because I was a party hack. Was not beholden to the Republicans. As a matter of fact, the Republicans didn't actually like me to become governor. They chose other people first, only because I then had the biggest rallies and most people interested in me. They then came to me the last week and said, okay, can we be on the table with you when you negotiate? Then we would endorse you. I didn't need it at all. I mean, I had my run, everything worked well, the way we communicated with the people. And, people saw right away that I was not at all representing a party. They didn't see me as the Republican. They saw me much more as an independent. That's how I won in California. Because I'm in the middle. To me, it's like I believe what Eisenhower said, that the President Eisenhower said, politics is like the road. The left and the right is the gutter, and the center is drivable. And this is exactly what I believe in. I don't look at it one party or the other being bad or evil or this or that. I think that there are good people in both parties, and there are bad people in both parties.
And I liked what you've said, that you're an American before you're a Republican, or any.
I am an American that really appreciates of what America has done for me.
Right.
And so I will never forget that. And I always will go and try to do everything that I can to make America a better place and a more prosperous place. And but what they're doing right now with the redistricting and with this battle, it's not a battle between Democrats and Republicans. This is a battle between the politicians and the people.
Yeah.
This is what this is, and I go with the people.
Let me ask you though, I liked the story you're telling about, or the analogy you're talking about being in the weight room, but the situation now has changed. It's like somebody coming up to you in the weight room and putting more weight on one side than on the other, and making it even more difficult or perhaps impossible for you to accomplish your goals. I mean, they're saying that this is unilateral disarmament. They're using a lot of different, for California to have done what it's done. What do you think about that argument, that it's inherently unfair and so we can't fight back any other way?
Well, if you look at the history in the last 200 years, both parties have done whatever they could to do the gerrymandering. I mean, if you think about how many states are there where you literally have like 40% Republicans, but you only have like 2 seats or 3 seats that are being sent to Washington, it's not a true representation. It's gerrymandered. I don't see the Democrats jumping up and saying, we got to redo that. Yes, they're saying, okay, we had a bill in Washington that we all signed and voted for, but the Republicans wouldn't, but not to do any more gerrymandering and all this. They know exactly that the Republicans didn't vote for it. That's therefore they all voted for it. So they can go and brag and say, we did it. Look, nationwide, it's not a Washington issue. This is a state-by-state issue. And state by state, both parties has abused the system. It's that simple. So it's not that then one side of the weight is heavier than the other side. No, they both. Well, I've studied this subject well enough that I've seen that Ronald Reagan has complained about it back in the 80s. Democrats have complained about it, like Obama, in the year 2000, from 2009 on, and everyone have always complains about it because they feel like they're disadvantaged. Then they go out and they do it themselves, or they tell the states, the different kind of states to do it. So I just don't see it one weighted or overweighted on one side or on the other side. I don't see it that way. Maybe right now it's that way, but not under. If you look at the whole history, when the Democrats come back, they're going to go and change it the other way again. So whenever they have a chance, they're just none of them are just really sincere and say what is best for the people.
Right.
Because otherwise, Obama, when he was in, he had 2 years where he had the House, the Senate, and the White House. He could have gotten rid of that in 2 seconds of gerrymandering, but he didn't. And Biden had the chance to do that. I mean, they all have a chance. The Republican presidents too. They all had the chance to do it, but none of them did.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, I think it doesn't work. And of course, I totally understand that does not help the Democrats, my position. But I'm not trying to help them, nor do I try to help the Republicans. So I'm not a Trumpy by any means.
And they would say that Trump presents a unique threat. I mean, you were worried about it. That's why you said, I don't like politics, I don't like endorsements, but you said how concerned you were about him dividing and insulting people and undermining democracy if he got elected. Well, here he is elected, and even Common Cause, a good government organization, is so concerned about him specifically that they say they're backing off of condemning Newsom's effort in California. So I don't know, do you think we're just in a different time now, unique threat from President Trump?
I always go back to the last 200 years because I've studied that, how it came up and how it was developed, the gerrymandering, and they both have done it. It just happens to be that Trump is now more of a personality and people pay more attention, and because he's much more out there and more overt. Others are doing it secretly. He does everything out there in the open because he feels like I can do it because people love me and all that stuff. So he gets away with it. And the sad story at this point is that the Democrats haven't figured out yet how they can go and win, no matter if he takes them 5 seats away or not, to just win overwhelmingly. Like sometimes it happens after an election like that 2 years later, when it's midterm election, the party that is in the White House loses big time, and they're not able to do that. So somehow they have to figure that out. But I think what they have to figure out is both parties, instead of just manipulating and changing the rules and doing gerrymandering, they should perform. Let's have a competition between the Democrats and the Republicans that will be good for the people, because competition is really good. It's healthy. You're pushing each other. I want to outdo the other guy, rather than changing the rules all the time. Because it avoids for them to having to outdo each other. Why do we have, after all these decades, still a huge debt in this country? Why don't they solve it? Why do we have, after 30 years, 35 years, we should have immigration reform? They've been talking about it. It's not done. Why is that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many issues. Why is it that we don't have the infrastructure that we should have and that we should build in this country? Why is that not done? Why are they not doing anything? So it's like they are not performing. That's why the politicians have the lowest approval rating. Yeah. What do you think why they have this low approval rating? Because they're not performing. That's why. So the people know what the politicians do. And so that's why I have to go and be able, and I have to do everything that I can to go and to push back and to say, no, you guys can do whatever you want. I'm not going to get involved in your business, but I promise the people of California that we will keep an independent, commission. And so I will fight for that, to keep my promise to the people, not my promise to the politicians.
Yeah. Well, you're already selling apparently people are already selling the t-shirt you have on today after you posted it on X. So, but what else? How are you going to fight this? What are your plans? Your next steps?
I have no plan. I have no plans. I mean, because I have to see first what the other side is doing. And, so I just do my thing, and I'm not, beholden to anyone. I've not promised one party or the other anything. I'm independent. So, they probably both hate me because I'm against the Republicans in Texas and the Democrats in California. So, but I'm in a good position. I feel really good of where I'm at. My brand is to be a public servant and not a party servant. That's my brand.
But how are you going to communicate with people, I guess? Get
I
your
will,
message
I
out.
will, I will communicate. I have a very good way how to communicate.
Really?
I'm not,
I find
I'm
that so
not too worried. I'm not too worried about that.
And so, because we're so polarized, I'm just wondering, who is your constituency? Who's out there saying the things you're saying? I mean, I don't hear anybody else saying what you're saying.
They don't have to. I mean, I have my own voice. I say things the way I say it and the way I communicate it, and hopefully it'll work.
Did you try to talk Governor Newsom out of it?
No, because I know what the situation he's in. So I don't. I respect him, and he does his thing, and he does what he needs to do, and then I do what I need to do, and he respects me, hopefully.
But people feel like without doing this, there's nothing else that we can do in Texas. The Democrats have to come back. They'd have to stay gone, I think, until May to really kill this. And they have families and jobs. And so without California or potentially New York, there is no way to fight back. Trump will win.
Oh no, that you can fight
the
back
Republicans
and perform and really outdo the Republicans with service. I still believe that is what the action is.
That can be done in California, right?
Well, it can be done. It can be done nationwide. If the Democrats outperform the Republicans, then the Republicans will lose everything. It's just that simple. You have to outperform them rather than redistrict them.
And how do they do that? Any advice?
Oh no, they have to figure out. There's a lot of smart people around to do that, But they have had a rough going in the last 4 years, and so it's just the way it is.
And you're such a proud American and believe in democracy. You're not troubled by Trump's authoritarian tendencies?
I'm troubled by everything that's going on in America right now. Yeah, I'm concerned about that stuff, but we cannot stop, moving forward in a positive way. I always tell people, stop whining, and let's get to work. What can you do in order to make this a better country? We all have to work together to make this a better country, no matter which party you belong to. We have to go and stop all this dividing. The people have fallen for that trick, which comes from the party leaders. The party leaders want us to be divided. And I see an America that is together. That's my vision. When I go into a hospital, it functions well. And I've had 3 heart surgeries and all this stuff, it functions well because there's no one asking, wait a minute, nurse, before we put this IV in, are you a Republican or a Democrat? Who is in my surgery? Whoa, wait a minute, he's from India? Are you fucking kidding me? Well, wait a minute. So you're saying the guy that's in charge of post-operation, he's an immigrant? Whoa, let's check his papers. Yeah, so there's none of that.
Yeah.
None of that. So it's just, we all work together in the hospital. That's what makes them be able to save patients. Imagine if anyone would be so political. So why are we not doing that with public service? Let's all work together. I work together. I didn't look at the Democrats in Sacramento as enemy. I always told them, I said, you're not my enemy. We see some things, not even all things, some things differently. Budget, we see differently. You like to spend, I like to save. I said, okay, so we're different in that. But we both like to protect the environment. We both like to build infrastructure. We both like to get universal health care in California. I know we both like to go and create clean energy. I said, let's just work together on the things that we can work together on. Very simple.
But people who think like that now are,
I know.
They're becoming more rare, as you know.
I know. But that does not mean we should give up. We should continue preaching, working together, and that we are all Americans, and there's no one that is above anyone else just because they believe differently.
Well, I really appreciate your spending time with me
Thank
and
you.
answering these questions.
Absolutely. Have a
Thank you,
good
Arnold.
day.
Okay, you
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye-bye.
I feel good. I just, there is no easy answer, right? You basically have these two competing forces, or these two competing ideas, and one is fight fire with fire, and one is two wrongs don't make a right. And the Democrats are saying this is so wrong that we have to do a bit of it to make it right. And if we do nothing, the fire will, engulf. The fire will go out of control. And so I think that, Arnold is being very principled, and others are being more pragmatic right now. But what happens if we go down that pragmatic route and everybody who can redistrict redistricts? There won't be any middle, there won't be any competitive districts left, and we'll be even more polarized. And that's why I agree with him.